Welcome to the latest edition of Talking Pictures with Lance and David. This week we're talking about Kick-Ass.
No, Kick-Ass. We're talking about Kick-Ass. American movie. That's the way they say it in the film.
I happen to be British, so Kick-Ass.
Right.
I wasn't expecting to like it, but I really did like it.
Right. Why weren't you expecting to like it? Was it the magnificently funny trailer? Was it the fantastic outdoor materials? Was it what was not making you think you were going to love this movie?
The words Matthew and Vaughan.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, based on what? You didn't like Stardust?
No, not really.
Really?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it wasn't quite the Princess Bride, but it...
No, it wasn't the Princess Bride.
It would kind of do till the next Princess Bride came along, I
Oh,
thought.
come on, there ain't going to be another Princess Bride.
No. So you went in with low expectations. Okay, I have to say I went in, big shout out to Colin Rawling, who was the first person I know who saw it, and he said the film had gone straight into his top 5. That's like all-time top 5,
Wow.
and this isn't some, drooling idiot. This is a guy who really knows his films.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that's impossible. You can't. No film can possibly live up to that hype.
Yeah.
And I kind of saw him after the screening. I was like, yeah, I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
It's not in my all-time top 5, but by God, I mean,
It's a
it
good
does
song.
more than it says on the can. I thought it gave much more than it promised, and I had really high expectations.
The reason I think that this film is right now, right for now, is that so many more people are au fait with the language of the superhero movie. There's been a plethora of superhero films in the last 10 years or so, and people have become accustomed to them. And so there's that shortcut, that language that people can tune into relatively easy and get these references and play along with the way this film plays out. And the reason I think that so many superhero movies are made, have been made in the last few years, is because the guys who were kids then, in 30 years ago, who grew up with Superman and reading Fantastic Four and X-Men and all the rest of it, in that beautiful, wonderful bygone age, are guys at our age now.
Right.
And now they're making pictures, and they want to. They always said when they were kids, "Oh, when I make movies, I'm going to make a superhero movie." So,
Yeah.
and they've done it. And
No,
that's why.
I think you're absolutely right. That well, first of all, to take your first point, the sort of permission to go postmodern is kind of an important
very
thing.
postmodern.
It's like you now understand what the rules of these. It's almost like what X-Files did for television. It gave permission for the rest of the world to get into fantasy.
Yeah.
It kind of took the nerd factor out of, even though there was a huge nerd factor on X-Files. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And comic books
absolutely.
now, what happened is, I think what you're saying is that, or what you said is that, you didn't need to have read comic books. You just needed to have seen enough comic
Yes.
book movies. I think you
Yes.
started to get this once kind of Spider-Man and X-Men had come out. It was almost like the next movies didn't necessarily have to do the origin story.
No.
Because people understood, oh right, there's at some point this happened. You could, like with Hulk, or you could put it all in the opening credits. The first film didn't have to be the origin story
That's
anymore.
right. That's right.
There's also the guys who came late to comic books. I don't know if Matthew Vaughan grew up reading comic books, but Jane Goldman almost certainly did. His co-writer.
Yeah, well, she's married to Jonathan Ross.
Well, absolutely. So presumably she's read quite a few over the past 20 years as well.
He's a comic book humidor in his house.
Right. Exactly.
You're telling me that the Americans didn't think it would sell well over there. Why?
I don't know. It's just, okay, it's
I think
incredibly...
it's universal.
Well,
No,
yeah.
I mean, apart from it being
universal, yeah.
But I think the language is universal, especially in the America.
Let's see. I mean, my feelings about it was that even though, and I know I'm this is kind of it sounds crazy because this movie, the movie I'm about to mention, is such a monumental achievement, but to me it had that same kind of cool, completely in charge knowingness that Pulp Fiction had. And I don't, I was trying to think of comps in my head, what they call in the film business comps, where you have to compare it to other films. You said Leon, right?
Yeah.
I think that's just because the little girl in it's got a black bob.
Well,
Who reminds you a bit of
there's
Natalie Portman
a scene in there
Leon.
that's very much like Leon. When she
Okay.
turns up at the building with her bag.
Right.
It's very much like
Oh,
Natalie
yeah,
Portman
yeah,
turning
okay.
up to kill Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
It's very much like
But
that.
didn't Leon, aka the Professional, didn't that have a? I mean, Luke Besson was totally in charge of what he was doing,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And Quentin Tarantino was totally in charge. There was
Yeah.
no point that somebody, other than maybe Lawrence Bender,
Yeah.
could have come in and said, you know what, Quentin, maybe if you just do... Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Lawrence Bender
Vaughan
wouldn't have done that anyway.
felt that
He was going to go and do it.
Yeah. He felt like he was totally in control of his material.
Yeah.
The actors in it were totally in tune with the guy who was in control of the material.
Yes.
You know, there aren't that many movies that are realised that fully. And also, when you finish watching it, I don't know about you, but I was like ready to watch it all over again.
I want to see it all over again. I mean, I went home and said to my girlfriend, right, we have to have someone look after the baby because you have to come and see this film.
Right.
It's one of those films that she's going to get it. I
Yeah.
mean, she's more comic book than most people, but you don't, like we've just been saying, you don't need to be comic book to see it. You're going to get it straight away. And
because you've absorbed, even if you don't watch those movies, you've absorbed enough. You know.
I had the woman sitting next to me in the cinema yesterday looking at me weirdly every time that Nicolas Cage spoke when he was in costume.
Right.
Because he spoke, the intonation was Adam West.
Yeah.
As Batman, I was killing myself laughing at this. And I don't know if
and his costume is one small step from Batman's,
from
isn't
Batman,
it?
yeah, exactly. And it's little things like that as well that are wonderful. And Nicolas Cage finally got to play the superhero.
Yeah.
He was down to play Superman years ago.
Yeah.
With Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Which
he took a year off to not make that movie.
Yeah.
And he got paid $20 million for not making it
and
as well.
It's I can't.
But he
see
did
it
Ghost
myself.
Rider. Yeah. Anyway, so now let's go back to the subject matter of Kick-Ass. It's about a guy who says, why hasn't anybody ever tried being Lars, why hasn't anybody ever tried to be a superhero before?
Well, like his
why isn't YouTube crammed with
like his friends
superheroes?
say, in real life, he will get his ass kicked.
Right.
I mean, he will just get, as our
So
hero
he should
discovers.
be, as Nicolas Cage says, he should be called
His name
Ass
should
Kick.
be ass kicked. Ha ha ha.
Nice. You were dying to do your Nicolas Cage impression.
I was going to do Nicolas Cage's Superman, but,
Right.
I'm actually from another galaxy. Anyway, he would get his ass kicked in real, as his friends
Right.
point out. But that doesn't stop our hero. So he goes and buys a wetsuit.
Yeah.
A green one.
But
A
then
really
something
weird
very
wetsuit.
strange. Yeah. But then it was actually quite good. I actually, when I got home, I was looking on eBay to see if it's actually possible to buy that particular wetsuit. And then, but he has a few, unsuccessful attempts at being a super. But basically, what's so great about the film is one of the things that's so great about the film, other than that fully realised vision thing, which I think is wonderful, is that it keeps surprising you at every turn. And the girl Chloe, who's just, where did she come from?
I mean, not only is that obviously it's written as the showy part, but if you're going to do the showy part, what I call the Gary Oldman part, because it's you need fireworks.
Right.
If you don't live up to it, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And boy, does she live up to it. She really does fill those boots.
Yeah.
And that mask.
I think
and that wig.
she reminds me of a 10-year-old Jane Goldman. Actually,
You
I
know
bet Jane
what?
Goldman
That
was just like, when I
probably-
think about Jane Goldman's got the red hair
Yeah.
and, the little kid with the purple wig and everything.
And they give her all the best lines.
So how many Estonian would-be superheroes with mental problems out of 10 would you give Kick-Ass?
I've got to give it 10.
That's our first 10.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
going to have to say 10.
Yeah.
Go and
Yeah.
see Kick-Ass, or if you will, Kick
Kick ass.